could be linked to Donald Trump, Matt, who has been extremely critical of the NFL during his presidency. Trump owns the New Jersey Generals in the United States Football League in 1984 and 1985. But that organisation folded as well after only 3 seasons. Trump was often blamed for the failure of the league as he pushed it to move to a full schedule against the NFL, which cost lucrative offers to air games in the spring with TV. So, the report also states that McMahon recently filed an additional football trademarks, which included URFL, which was United Football League, and then UFL, which was to shorten it up. So, it's strange why they would be trademarking all 3 things again. I have no idea what is going on there, but who knows? Maybe this is a move between Vince and Donald, Matt. Wrestling has lots of ways at the moment in WWE, politically as well. You never know how this could work out. But the one thing about the XFL, because there was that documentary, I don't know if you ever got to see it. It only come out like last year, but they kind of went back on it. I think it was a 30 for 30 show, and ESPN done it, and they were talking about how the documentary was all about the sort of rise and complete failure in the end. I won't even call it a fall. It was a stinker by the end of it, but just how bad that went. But apparently the upturn of it was just so incredible that it was worth the gamble back then. I'm wondering if that's still the case now, whether it's just worth a punt. And, people, if you get people in the right moment, whether they would shift and start watching something else new. Of course, they had massive influence back then with NBC. I don't know whether NBC would be partnering Vince McMahon in this one again, but it'll be interesting, Matt, to see if there is any sort of tangible stuff. I've got to say, I'd be hugely shocked that Vince himself would want to take on anything more than what he's already got. As far as promoting this, and whatever Vince McMahon has done outside of wrestling hasn't really worked. If you think about movies, you think about the bodybuilding thing he has tried boxing at one point, and then this XFL, it's never really worked. As far as wrestling, Matt, he is the king. I mean, he's going to go down as a god at the end of this thing. I mean, he's going to be the most easily recognized, most, amazing promoter there's ever been for pro wrestling. To see where he's taken it and how huge it's become as a company, you cannot take that away from Vince McMahon. Despite all the craziness that goes on and how we think he's not in touch, you can't ever take away the fact that since he's had that little regional business in New York, it's become a worldwide conglomerate. So that he's always going to be known there. Matt, did you out of all these things, do you think Vince at 72 that there? I mean, what are the chances for you, Matt, percentage wise, that this is a real thing? I know you touched on it, but if he does go into this, I'd be even more worried for the WWE just to think where his resources are going to be.
Yeah, I mean, it's not exactly something that would interest me. So, from a biased point of view, I'd be preferring him to actually focus on his baby himself, like the wrestling actually as a whole. Mm. I mean, if he was to actually leave the company to Stephanie and Triple H and then want to do their own thing, fair enough. He'd have a lot of spare time in his retirement, but he just doesn't have the time, I feel.
Yeah, makes you wonder as well, talking about whether they'd need NBC. They probably wouldn't now, because back then streaming TV wasn't a big thing, but it wouldn't be surprised, Matt, if he tried to lump that together and have another network out there just for his own little football thing as well. Try and get people watching that. Would not surprise me in the slightest, because that's the way I think everything seems to be going at the moment, which is, of course, just the way of the world for all that. But yeah, interesting times there. Very strange that a lot of those trademarks have gone in, and also that they're supposed to announce something past the 25th anniversary of Raw, which I know is going to be a big deal, because A lot of guys, including The Undertaker, have been rumoured that they're going to be on that show. Matt, I want to just sort of like briefly touch, as we come to the end of the show here, on what is going to be the Royal Rumble for next year. Of course, one of not our most prestigious event anymore, but at least between me and you, for sure. But what could be happening, Matt? Lots of rumours have been going around now for a long time about Ronda Rousey. Of course, the first ever women's Royal Rumble. Is there a chance, Matt, that she will be announced around that time, or even be a surprise in that Rumble itself? Because you feel like if they got Ronda Rousey, the Royal Rumble time, normally when you see these big celebrities like Mayweather, or who's a boxer, not a celebrity, but you see these celebrities come in, or the sports person, they normally start to ramp them up around sort of that sort of time, Matt, and try and get them to promote on the outside, coming in as well. So you've got everything working as one. The whole media machine works as one, and you get outside influences. But do you think this is if they are going to go with what we're hearing, that Ronda's been training, would that be the right time for you, Matt? And do you see anything about the Rumble match itself at all?
I think we were talking about not too long ago that something we both might like to see would be a women's Royal Rumble. But sort of the rumours around that sort of cooled as of late. It was going around, but now there's not too much talk on it, which I think is kind of a shame, because I would like to see that. And I think the men's kind of Rumble is become far too predictable these days. That a women's one is a bit more of an even playing field, and everyone is on more of an even level now. And that it can chop and change as they feel like. But I feel like if that was the case, and they did have a women's Royal Rumble, that would be an excellent place for Ronda Rousey to make a surprise entrance. It would be the total opposite of the Batista kind of return at the Rumble. It would be something shocking and surprising, and if she won it, everyone would be excited for it. So I think that would be good, but I don't feel like we're heading down that path now, unfortunately. So I feel like if there was a Ronda Rousey kind of thing, it would probably come at the expense of the women's match at the Royal Rumble. I'm sure they would probably have one, and it would be like a kind of ending where she would get involved in some sort of disqualification, which I wouldn't really want to be up for. I'd rather them actually put it like the UFC might, let's say, here's a superstar, they challenge you, throw the corner down, do you accept?
Yeah. No, I'm with you there. Listen, I've heard rumours that they are, there's been rumours that the Women's Rumble is going to happen. I mean, the weird thing about it is the fact that they've got three, you've got two lots of three now in groups going on with, of course, Paige and then the girls on SmackDown. You're thinking, and apparently that was all because they needed to make the numbers more for this Royal Rumble, this all women. So I'm like, man, if they don't do this now, they're never going to do it, quite frankly. So I feel like it would be such a great, kick-off to the road to WrestleMania if you have Ronda come in and, I mean, even if she didn't wrestle, but she done something, say if even if she doesn't get involved in the Royal Rumble women's match, like how big of a statement would it be if you just have Ronda announced, or she's going to be there the Raw after, or whatever, just to get things moving in a positive way? Because like I feel like the last few roads to WrestleMania have been a little bit like, man, it's been stop-start. We've had to go through the middle pay-per-view. Nothing's really there consistently, and everything sort of gets made up in the last month. I just wish there was a few things where we was like, okay, Ronda Rousey's in, the excitement's there, the buzz is there from the outside media, because with Ronda Rousey, Matt, you guarantee that outside, legit sports will be looking in going, what is Ronda doing here? It's going to get everyone talking, and you can build that from the very beginning, and just have that consistent momentum going into WrestleMania. Whereas, of course, a lot of times it's all very sort of last minute sometimes, and I'm never a fan of that. But I feel like if they do this right, they could have a really good wave going into this one. But it would be great if they did have the all women's Rumble, quite frankly. Hopefully they stick with it. Listen, I don't expect it to be 30, but I think they could do a 20, Matt. I mean, I think they've got enough for that. So
I really hope that they do. I mean, it would be the next step in Royal Rumbles because let's just say like the last few years haven't been that exciting.
No, you can say that again. Now, talking about the Royal Rumble, going back to the odds here, always fascinating to see where the bookies are shifting this thing. I don't know if you've been looking on there at all, you're in, Matt, but John Cena is the outrageous favourite here to come in and win the Royal Rumble. Does that surprise you, Matt?
It does kind of actually because he's so part-time these days. The last time we saw him, it was like he wasn't even there. He might as well not turned up. He might have been a face on the Titantron up there. He had like minimal impact in the Survivor Series match.
Yeah.
The fact that he's just gonna kind of come back and it will be the Batista effect again. I'm thinking, no, have they not learnt their lesson?
Yeah, I'm surprised he's their favourite. I've got to be honest with you. I mean, he would have been my favourite had Jinder Mahal still been champion. I would have said that would have made some sort of sense. But I don't see them going with AJ and Cena again. I just don't see him doing that match. And I also don't see John Cena and Brock again. So I'm like, and they're not going to go with Roman and Cena because that's already been done as well. I'm surprised they've done that. I just don't know where the sense would be there. Of course, second favourite, Matt, is Roman Reigns. But again, he's at the Intercontinental Belt. I mean, are they trying to keep him away from now and have that as a surprise? Do you think that he could win it again, or I don't know how I feel about that. I think like Roman Reigns and the Royal Rumble just don't go together. And it just reminds everybody of how much they dislike Roman, that I feel like they have to keep him away from that match sometimes, but they don't. But I kind of wish they did because it just reminds everybody of why they don't like the Rumble anymore. What do you think about that, Matt, and him being a possible favourite here?
I think, you'd leave him out of that equation because surely you've got to learn from your past lessons by now and know that, the Royal Rumble is becoming the Roman Rumble, People are getting a bit annoyed with that. And it's not what it's all about. It should be about giving new people that fresh opportunity. And that's what it was about, before there was Money in the Bank, before people could get over like that, they had to use the Royal Rumble to get over that way. And I think the way it's going now, if I had to put my money somewhere, I'd be looking at someone who hasn't had a fair shot so far. Someone like Nakamura, we go back to this again. That Nakamura-AJ match is a WrestleMania quality match.
Yeah, I mean, the only guy that I can remember who ever got away with a few Rumble back-to-back, which is Stone Cold Steve Austin. I mean, won it in 97, hook or crooked, whatever you say. Won it in 98. Everyone still wanted to see him win it in 99, but Vince did. But by God, he still had the fans in him. And, of course, he come back in 2001. I mean, like, that's when somebody is over. But they're not doing that with Roman. It's never the same. They tried to recreate that a few times, that Austin thing a few years back when it was like, everyone was gunning for Roman when he was the champion going in it, and of course Triple H would win. But it's funny you say Nakamura, Matt, because he is third favourite at 7-2. You can have Nakamura. He was about 10-12-1 at one point, so he's really shot up, Matt. But the thing with Nakamura, I mean, are WWE willing to go with Nakamura and AJ Styles? It's such a New Japan style match. Like, would they do something like that, Matt? And also sort of two baby faces, really.
Well, I guess it's whoever gets the final say, isn't it? I think that kind of call is a very new age way of thinking, something along those kind of lines, and hence why we have the recommendation of like Nakamura being in the WWE in the first place, I would assume. Yeah. So if we can sort of talk old man Vince around, some new way of thinking. But AJ's more than proved himself lately anyway. He's shown that he is star through and through, and you need that right opponent to work with. And there's not that many people there now that are going to actually be on that WrestleMania. Like, look back in 20 years' time, that was an excellent kind of match. I know Randy Orton is a go-to guy for a lot of these things, but he is very set in a certain way that I don't think we would see the most dynamic match.
No, I don't want to see. Of course, he won it this year. Of course, Randy Orton. That's really forgotten about now, isn't it? He's about 16 to 1.